What's up, guys? So this is going to be a different video for me. I'm here with my partner Mark, and we're going to be building a really awesome cage for his pair of Chahoua geckos. I'm super stoked, and I want to give a massive shout out to my friends at ZooMed who are helping make this possible. They sent us all this great stuff. So thank you, ZooMed. And I'm super excited to build this cage for these really awesome geckos.
Yes.
All right, so we've got the back wall going in here. The tricky part about this was getting the waterfall pump installed. So I knew height-wise where the spout was going to be, and I had already drilled the hole for that. But placing it in there and making sure everything was lined up was a bit of a challenge. But we figured it out, and then we got the side wall in, which is going in right now. And we were good to go after that. So now we've got our drainage layer going in. These are the ZooMed Hydro Balls, and then our wonderful Reptisoil. And this is basically just the foundation for everything else that's going to be happening in this enclosure, and it's slowly starting to take shape. So now I've got this really cool piece of cork bark that had a hole already in it. So I basically turned it into a drain that was going to allow water from the waterfall to go right past the soil into the drainage layer, and the water could then be reused and sent right back up the waterfall.
Okay guys, so we have our basic setup is done. So we have our hydro ball layer, which is our false bottom that allows water to flow in through our water feature. We're going to create a really cool waterfall for it. We've got our two sides. We originally had three set up, but we decided we're going to remove one of the walls. We've got obviously our soil in there. So now we're going to start building out these three-dimensional features. So this is going to be part of the waterfall, and then we have all this other great manzanita wood and grapevine and cork tubes, and that's going to be kind of all these 3D elements, and then we'll get it planted. These geckos are going to be stoked for their new home.
We're gonna put it right here. All right, cool. So we're gonna take this cork bark, we're gonna put it here. Once the water flows from this tube, it'll go directly into this cork bark below and filter out. Boom, boom, boom. All right, cool. Let's get the piece.
So right now I'm putting some screws along the back wall to be able to hold this piece of cork bark into place. So between that and this awesome piece of wood that I'm about to grab here in a second, we were able to stabilize that piece of cork bark, which we're going to foam in just a minute, and that'll keep everything stationary and still, and we can continue this build. So before we begin foaming, we're going to place a couple of the other 3D pieces into here. So we've got one of these cork tubes, and this is where things really started to get creative and fun. So we basically have these cork bark pieces jettisoning out into the middle of the enclosure, and there's going to be two of them, and we're going to fill them with moss. It's going to look really, really cool. Okay, so now we are getting ready to foam, and we're using Great Stuff foam, which expands a tremendous amount. So being really particular about where we're putting it and how we want to make sure the thing stays secure and locked in. Alright, so now we've got everything in place. We're going to start throwing a little bit of moss in here just to start getting some ideas. We're starting with inside the cork rounds, and it already looks super, super cool.
All right, so we have this mossed out. We've got our plants in. So we're still adding some moss on the bottom. But it's coming along really, really well.
This enclosure came out so freaking amazing. I'm super stoked. My partner Mark and I are very, very happy with how this came out. So thank you again to my friends at Zoo Med who helped make all of this possible.